Now, the next feature we're going to look at is the brainstorming feature. It is part of the Boost activities. Now, what I've used the brainstorming feature for is building answers to questions, right? Trying to eliminate this misconception that some of my students have that a two-sentence answer will get you full marks. Also, I think it provokes students into thinking. I've also used it to try and solve design problems. Many of my subjects have assessment through a design brief, and some students can find the design brief, can find the wording of it quite difficult. And I put the design brief into this and the instructions and help them work through it. Now I know the purists will say that you should design starting with a pencil, but I found this has helped my weaker students to understand what the brief is about. I have used it with my DCD students, my fifth years. We were doing the ordinary level brief as a practice for next year. And part of that is they have to redesign an existing object or come up with a new concept design based on a target market or a theme. And I set it up that way and instructed them that we use the target market of the theme. And I will show you later what one of my students came up with. Now, he was finding it difficult to get ideas, and he started and he inputted his hobbies and his target market, which was some form of martial arts, and he worked his way through it. And in fairness, it did help him devise something different rather than just going to the internet and saying, oh, I'm going to pretend I designed that. So it does help in that fashion. I know I've seen a video where a maths teacher has used it. Now, not to do maths as such per se, like not to be writing down equations, but it forces students to think how they would approach solving the problem or ever putting a pen to paper. So all that was done was the question was uploaded and it was put into the Boost activity and it forced the students to think their way through a problem. So there are some of the things that I've used it for, and we'll just go through there now and see how I've done that. So what I've done is one of the worksheets that we created in the previous session on the ICF. So I'm going to upload this and I'm going to deal with it as I would a student. Okay, so we go through the same procedure. Brisk icon, Boost student activity, but this time I want to go to brainstorm. Now, create a brainstorming activity about this document. I can leave it at that. Sometimes I put in prompts, create a brainstorming activity about this document that will help students answer the questions. But I've got mixed results. So at the moment, I just leave it like this and I click next. And same thing again. Now, I've forgotten one thing. When you are using Google Docs so that all the kids can see it, you have to go share and you have to make sure that it says anyone with this link is a viewer, okay, so that they can see the document. So we have Brisket, and it works through preparing it. It's done that. We can add it to a class there. So we'll add it to a class. We just add it to this so I know where it is. Share. Copy the link, and I'm going to preview and edit so that we can see it. Now, when you've copied the link, you can work through it. So this is what the students see. Document here. And what I have asked them to do in the past is, right, I've put up a couple of questions here, but that would be their worksheet. And I might say, look, for homework tonight, do question 1, use the Boost to help you, right? This just so that they can build their answer. So look, we're looking at question 1. It says, analyze the advantages and potential drawbacks using ICF construction compared to traditional building methods. Consider factors such as energy efficiency, construction speed, and long-term sustainability. Now, I suppose the one downside in this is in my subject, they're asked to put in diagrams. This doesn't support diagrams, but I have found that it's improved the quality of their answers. So we go through this. So like it asks you, hello there, hello, I'm here to help you with your brainstorm. What specific aspect of ICF construction do you need assistance with? If they're at home, they can just voice type into it. Now, this is device neutral. This will show up on their phone. But what they need to do is they need to turn their phone landscape so that they can see both of these. I need help formulating an answer for question 1, please. And I put that in. So this is what I've been training my students to do when they're doing this. So the Boost comes back. It asks me a question. To help you formulate your answer for question 1, what advantages of ICF construction stand out to you compared to the traditional methods? Can you think of any specific drawbacks as well? ICF is quicker to build than traditional methods. The drawbacks would be that the external render for ICF is much more expensive than the external render for traditional blockwork. And it keeps prompting them to ask answers. Now, at any stage, you can change, like if there was someone doing revision and maybe they had enough and they wanted to decide to go to a different question. Can I skip on to question 3, please? Can you help me build an answer for that? And it will do that. Thing it can't do is it can't read diagrams. Okay, so if questions involve diagrams, it can be a small bit. Now, another one I use it for is to help students design. As part of the DCG assignment, in part B, students must do a redesign or a concept design of an item that's specified. So in this year's ordinary level, it was a lunchbox. So what I've done is I've taken the part of the brief that was written about that. I've taken the instructions that were given for output 5, and I'm going to create a brainstorming exercise from that. Now, this is the one that I spoke previously that I did with my 5th years. So again, and before I forget it, anyone with the link so that they can all access this. Boost student activity, and I'm going for brainstorm. And again, we just keep it at this. Brisk it, and it brings it in, creates it, and add it to a class so I know where it will be. So select from the list and share. So we're going to preview and edit this. So let's go. So we can see our learning objectives. Generate and create innovative concept designs for Lunchbox. Now I know that, again, designing with a pencil is ideal, but you still have to be able to think of what you're going to do. So again, it starts off with, hello, I'm excited to help you brainstorm. What specific aspects of your lunchbox design are you looking for assistance with? I wanted to know the difference between a target market and a target theme, please. Students can use it then to break down their brief, right? To me, a target market is a selection of people that would buy a specific item. And it will work through like that. The theme would be something that the design would be based on, like sport or music. And it asks probing questions and it works through. Now, it's not going to design it for them, but in effect, it's going to help them think logically through the actual whole process. My students found it effective. Now, we'll just have a brief look at what one of my students did. And I have permission from him and his parents to show some of this. So basically ask the question, difference between the target theme and the target market, and first impressions, and you can see, and right, told him it's on track, told him what his interest was, and offered to explain it if needed, and looking to find ways to link it, and then what you think about would be important to in a lunchbox aimed at athletes. And yes, he got it about healthy food, but then he wouldn't have a unique or interesting design with a new theme. And it agrees and it coaxes them along. And you can see the excitement here. He types in capitals, exclamation mark, and keeps going along like that. Now, with the part of the resources tonight, I have put this onto it so that you can see the full discussion, if you wish, that the student had with it. But I just thought for this particular student, it was wonderful because he really was struggling with how to incorporate a new design of a lunchbox, because like lunchbox was a lunchbox, as he said to me. But this is what happened and this is what he did. It helped him. And he went along then and created his, sketched up his lunchbox and modelled it up after that. But it did give him help and even taught little things about how to close it, etc. You know? So it is something that, like, it's, I suppose, as a teacher, if you can think outside the box a small bit and say, right, how can I, like, this is brainstorming, how can I get my students to think, as opposed to repeat ad nauseum everything I say. So this forces them to think. So as I say, I found it good for building answers, building knowledge, and I also found it useful for design. So sometimes, like when I'd upload, there is a question from an exam paper, and give that to my students. That would be their homework, and based on that, then the next day in class, we would go through and build an answer together of points for an answer that you could use, and it works that way. Now, I've tried uploading a complete exam paper to it, and I've had varying success to having one exam paper, it recognized all the questions. Other ones, it only went as far as question 4. I thought I could achieve brainstorming revision for my students uploading full exam papers, but as a PDF format, it didn't seem to work that well. Now, we look at what you would do with a Microsoft version of these if you want to use it that way. All right, so to work with a Microsoft document, you just go upload it first. So you go find your Microsoft document. So there's the Word version of the ICF one I used. And it has refused to upload, so we go again. Now, this can just sometimes happen. Look, it's right. So it's uploaded a document this time. Boost student activity, brainstorm, Brisk, and it goes through the same process again. See the document appearing there in the background, and you can work away. Then students can work away. You add it to class, copy, preview, etc. Copy link, paste it out, and so, like, when you're doing this, obviously you will have to show your students how to use it first of all. But once they get comfortable with it, some of them will be quite happy with it. Others will, the usual suspects, won't do anything. But just to me, I just find it has improved the quality of entering in my class because it has forced the students to think, which is no bad thing. So look, that's the brainstorm activity. Brainstorm and Tutor are the two that I tend to use. Other subjects will find other ones interesting. But look, my advice is dive in, try it out. You can't break it. You can't do anything wrong, right? But it is once you get to know what it does, I think you will find it quite useful. Look, I'm just sharing what I find useful and most of all time saving. And it allows me to work smarter and not harder. Because to be honest, I hate working harder. I like to save time where I can, and this offers me the opportunity to do so.